If our leaders are intentionally creating and encouraging violence and fear, I hope you will also agree we need new leaders. And to the people of Minneapolis, to the Pretti family and the Good family, and these people who were looking out for their neighbors, we want you to know that we are with you and you are not alone.
What the hell is it with all these paid actors? We've got paid actors in the streets playing the role of peaceful protesters, a job in which they absolutely suck at doing. Last I checked, peaceful protesters aren't throwing cinder blocks through glass windows. We've got paid actors playing the role of an innocent mother dropping off her children at school. She accidentally makes a wrong turn and just so happens to interfere with an ICE operation. We got paid actors claiming to be ICU nurses, but for reasons unknown, they're in the middle of the street directing traffic. I don't know about you guys, but I have never seen an ICU nurse telling me when it's my turn to change lanes. And now we have got paid actors hosting these late night dumps. Paid actors pretending to be emotional over the tragic death of someone they have never met. You know, Hollywood used to hire actors with actual talent. Hollywood used to hire actors that were such prolific performers. They had the ability to make you suspend your disbelief. The only thing Jim Kimmel has the ability to suspend is himself, because there is absolutely no reason that ABC should have brought him back when he was suspended back in September. That temporary firing, it should have been permanent. Jim Kimmel really expects me to believe that he is crying over Alex Pretti. Jim Kimmel expects me to believe that he is getting emotional over a man not named Don Trump. Last I checked, there's only one man that is the center of Jim's world. There's only one man who is the object of Jim's devotion. Did Jim Kimmel suddenly become a polygamist? Did he suddenly decide to spread his obsessive love? You know, Jay Leno got emotional after 9/11. There was a somber mood on The Tonight Show after we were attacked by Osama bin Laden. But the somber mood was temporary. The seriousness, it only lasted for an episode or two. Because Jay Leno, David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, they understood what the trio of huge embarrassing failures that are currently hosting these late night dumps, they understood what this trio of failures can't seem to understand. Late night television is supposed to be a distraction. Late night is supposed to be entertaining. People aren't tuning into late night. Well, in the year of our Lord 2026, people aren't tuning into late night, period. But either way, people aren't tuning into these shows to be lectured by Captain Doofus. They're not watching to be indoctrinated by some dunce who has absolutely no idea what he is talking about. But surprisingly, during his emotional breakdown, somewhere in between the onion-induced tears and the fabricated sniffles, Jim Kimmel managed to say something that Uncle KC actually agrees with. Jim Kimmel is right. We do need new leaders. We need new leaders in Minneapolis, Stan, and we damn sure need new leaders in the Islamic Republic of Minnesota. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Forest Natural. Nothing is more important than your health. Think about what I do here every day. Something as simple as a head cold, sore throat can negatively impact my schedule. If I can't speak clearly, I can't work. Back in November, I started taking Enforce Plus from Forest Natural. Ironically enough, this has been the first winter where I have dealt with minimal illness. Enforce Plus from Forest Natural. It is specifically designed to boost your immune system. Primary ingredient is a potent strain of Coriolis versicolor mushroom. Now, these are not the magic mushrooms that you're thinking about, but they are damn sure magical. Coriolis versicolor mushrooms. They have been used for holistic purposes in Eastern cultures for thousands of years. The benefits of these natural immune supporting supplements. They have been backed by hundreds of studies from Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute of New York, MD Anderson in Texas. Around 85% of customers who purchase supplements from Forest Natural, they end up buying again the following month. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied with the product. So click the link in the description of the pinned comment below. Start taking better care of your health today with Forest Natural. Last night, Jim Kimmel once again sedated his audience by delivering an opening monologue filled with lies and toxic mouth farts. Luckily, most people who are willing to sit in the studio audience, they are still walking around wearing masks. Otherwise, they'd be permanently damaged from the poisonous fumes from the toxic ass gas that Jim Kimmel was releasing last night. The entirety of his opening monologue, it was dedicated to Alex Pretti. There were no jokes, there was no comedy. Producers didn't even pipe in fabricated laughter to make people watching at home believe that Jim Kimmel was actually generating laughter. Unsurprisingly, most of the monologue was blatant lies. Now, to her credit, Jim's writer and executive producer, Molly McNearney, or as Jim prefers to call her, my boss. The IRS refers to Molly as Jim's wife or head of household. But to her credit, Molly Kimmel put a double coat of polish on these turds. She really wanted the audience to believe that Jim was telling the truth. But as you're about to see, it was nothing but lies from the Princess of Darkness. Watch for yourself.
They say the Honda SUV Renee Good was driving was weaponized. They say the gun Alex Pretti had a license to carry in an open carry state. All right, many of these same people screamed very loudly about when it was Kyle Rittenhouse carrying the gun. They fired 10 times on an ICU nurse. They're telling us, well, it was justified, you know. My wife and I have family in Minneapolis. They're afraid to take their kids to school. They're afraid to go to work. And I can only imagine how people who aren't white feel about this. Does anyone on any side believe this is good leadership? We keep saying we need to find subjects that we can agree on. Can we agree that peaceful protesters, including moms driving SUVs on their way back after dropping their 6-year-old off at school, and a nurse who stepped in to protect a woman from harm, don't deserve to be shot dead in the street by the people we are paying to protect us?
This is so scary. Mothers can't take their children to school. Courageous male nurses can't help grandmothers cross the street. My family in Minneapolis is so scared. They have gotten over their embarrassment of being related to me and asked if I could help them move to the People's Republic of California. Can't we all agree this is just wrong? It's so wrong. I noticed Jim Kimmel conveniently left out a lot of the context here. Renee Good wasn't dropping off her child at school. She was disrupting an ICE operation. Ironically enough, Alex Pretti looked like he was doing the same thing. Did Alex Pretti have a right to be on the streets armed with a gun? If he had a permit, absolutely. But along with that Second Amendment right comes responsibility. Along with that Second Amendment right comes discernment. For weeks now, Minneapolis has been a war zone. Communist agitators who are allegedly being paid by some tech billionaire named Neville Roy Singham, who is living comfortably over in China. For weeks now, communist agitators, they have been at war with ICE. If you're bringing a gun into an active war zone and you're even giving the hint of interfering with ICE, What are they supposed to think? Jim Kimmel and the rest of the media, they keep calling this a protest. It ain't a protest. It's a war zone. Earlier this afternoon, I was watching the Young Turks here on YouTube. I only watch when it's that Sync dude and the blonde lady who is obsessed with defending Islamic countries, even though she would have no rights if she lived in an Islamic country. But the reason I watch the Young Turks, I think it's healthy to receive an opposing viewpoint. I refuse to watch MSNBC. They are nothing but paid propagandists. CNN is a flaming ass fire unless Scott Jennings is on. I don't take Jim Kimmel seriously. And the thing I like about the Young Turks, I think they believe what they are saying. Even though most of the time I think they're wrong, at least I believe they think they're right. The Young Turks, they were saying the exact same thing that Jim Kimmel is saying. Can't we all come together and agree this is wrong? Can't we all agree that we need an investigation? Valid point. It is a fair point. But here's the problem. For starters, Jim Kimmel has no credibility. There is not a conservative in the country that is going to listen to Jim Kimmel. So any proposed truce coming from Jim is absolutely meaningless. Now, that being said, I don't think normal Republicans and normal Democrats are all that far apart ideologically. When I say normal Democrats, I'm talking about John Fetterman. I'll even include the Young Turks, even though they're progressive. We might disagree on policy, we might disagree on things like abortion, taxes, but we can agree on important things like freedom of speech. We can agree that the mainstream media is corrupt and useless. But here's where the problem comes in. When most normal people think of doofus Democrats, they remember the summer of woke love in 2020. When most normal people think of Democrats, they remember the agenda to allow men to invade women's sports. They see riots in the streets of Minneapolis-Stan. They see sanctuary cities. They see Somalian fraud. They see Tim Walz telling cops in Minnesota, along with the National Guard, to stand down. Ironically enough, once he got his ass reamed by Donald Trump, Tim Walz sent the National Guard into Minneapolis, and the paid protesters magically disappeared. Strange how that works. The point is, normal people see the antics of doofus Democrats, and there's no way we can agree with them. There is no coming together. If Jim Kimmel calls out Somalian fraud, if Jim Kimmel criticizes Tim Walz, if the woke media starts reporting objectively, unbiased reporting, then we can talk about finding areas of agreement. But until then, this useless ideological war, it will probably continue. This is not an America problem for Jim Kimmel and his pretend friends in the mainstream media. This is a you problem. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.